You're watching The Ugly Inside. Subscribe below.
Hello, welcome to the instant reaction, and it's breaking news this afternoon, this evening, even as of about 10 p.m. tonight. Claude Puel has officially been sacked as Southampton manager. I'm with Nick and Clive. First of all, let's go to Nick. You've already posted the article, and we could say the writing's been on the wall already for Claude.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that this has been a done deal for, if not weeks, probably months.
The writing on the wall.
The writing's on. That's writing on a piece of paper, not a wall. That may be your wallpaper, but the writing's been on the wall for a long time, and I don't know why it's taken so long to do it. I can only hope that this is the the catalyst of a chain of events which is going to bring investment into the club and a German-speaking manager into the club.
Now, Clive, you've always been critical of Claude. You know, right from Easter, from around about January, even back towards November, whilst we were away in Israel. Yeah. And the sign there, au revoir, Claude. I mean, how do you react to the news?
In some ways, it's sad. I'm relieved because a decision has been made at last. It should have been made a few weeks ago, I think, but a decision's been made. But who knows what's going on in the background, like Nick says, regards the financial ownership of the club. And obviously, the most important thing now is the replacement manager.
Now, speaking of replacement managers, now you've already got one ready for, the odds-on favourite is Thomas Tuchel. I've been corrected on my pronunciation. It's Tuchel, almost like Puel, but Thomas Tuchel, Nick, is a very attractive, proposition. Obviously, winning the German Cup with Borussia Dortmund, and fits the philosophy of the football club.
It's farewell, Puel, and Guten Tag, Tuchel. But I mean, Clive, as you say, Clive's not been a fan of Claude Puel, and as if most people, not really been convinced by him. But in football, it's never about what you've just done. It's now all about what happens next. It's Puel's gone. We've just got to move forward, and it's about who we appoint next, when we do it, and do it fast. What supporters don't like is uncertainty. They want to see things happen. And as I say, I just hope that it will happen fast now. They've said they'll have a new man in place by pre-season training, which is 2 weeks away, just over. So let's get on and get it done. The only good thing I can really say about Claude Puel is that he left the club in pretty much the same state as he found it, and it could have been far, far worse. And for that, we got to thank him. But, unfortunately, he was just too naive in tactics and couldn't seem to handle it.
Now, on paper, it was potentially it was a good season on paper. Finishing 8th in the league, a cup final. But obviously, we know, watching Saints every single week, the fashion of football just wasn't good enough. And obviously, Les Reed and maybe Lieber and Ralph Kruger picked up on that this season. We've been blessed with attractive football, and it just hasn't been up to standard, has it, this season, Clive?
It hasn't. I mean, one thing I'd say about Puel is I never called him clueless, Claude, like a lot of people did. And I really did want him to succeed, but I just didn't think he had the oomph. Maybe he didn't have the luck at times with injuries and the like. But, the football was so dull. It was so dull. It showed signs sometimes during the season, it showed signs of life. But then it was like, just as you'd thought, oh, come on, this is it, Saints. We've got it now. And then back to the library. It was, especially towards the end, it was painful, really painful. And when the fixtures came out today, I thought, beginning to think, Claude's actually staying, And I was just so underwhelmed with the fixtures today. But now I'm thinking, actually, with a bit of impetus, a new manager, new ideas, actually quite excited.
I mean, you talk about the fashion of football. I must admit, if Claude Puel's watching this, he's probably thinking, who are they to talk to me about the fashion of football? They're dressed like tramps most of the weeks. But one thing that struck me about Claude Puel from the very first day, his press conference, if you look at the pictures of his signing, he was there and he had his top button undone and his tie about 2 inches below. that didn't impress me from the start. I mean, yeah, you've got some managers who dress like scruffs, but you know, to be honest, a good manager will dress in the right way at the right occasions. They'll have an aura about them, and that goes for good players as well. Sorry,
bit of oomph in the dressing room, you know, a bit.
Yeah, you know, you've got to look and have that aura about him. You take someone like Graham Souness, 20 years and 27 managers ago, probably. He's, you know, Souness had an aura about him. When he walked into a room, he looked right. You know, he was dressed right. You knew that he looked at his appearance, because appearances matter, especially first appearances matter. They always say that when you're at an interview, first appearances matter. And that was for me with Claude Puel. I looked at that and he looked like, you know, some bloke half cut at a wedding rather than a man who had just been made a Premier League football manager. And I thought, this isn't good. But as Clive said, the trouble is, he always took, whenever he took a couple of steps forward, he always took about 3 back again, you know, and there'll be a few players, I think, who'll be glad to see the back of him. And if he'd have stayed, I think maybe 4 or 5 of them would have gone because they were mucked about by him.
I don't think it's not just players that will be glad to see the back of him. A lot of fans, obviously not just between the 3 of us, but a lot of us have already seen on Facebook within 10 minutes of the news being announced, a lot of people are already renewing their season tickets with an assumption that an attractive manager will be coming in.
If Tuchel comes in, he's got a reputation in the game, hasn't he? A really big name, and that would show a sign of intent from Saints. Massive sign of
absolutely.
Intent. That would get the place buzzing again, because that's what we need. I'm a bit afraid that if a player's decided to go, they will go, and doesn't matter who comes.
Players go for money. I mean, the fact of the matter is, players go for money. You know, you could bring Jose Mourinho into the club tomorrow, yet Virgil van Dijk would probably still want to go to Liverpool because they're going to pay him 180 grand and we can't. And you know, it's like driving a Formula One racing car. It don't matter. It's not the best driver. It's the best car. And that's been the way now with football. You know, you can have the best manager, but if you ain't got the financial clout and the multi-millions and the 75,000 capacity stadiums, it doesn't mean anything anymore. I mean, Leicester bucked the trend. I know people say that, but, you know, at the end of the day, we got to march on. I want to see Tuchel there, you know. We want a manager with aura. We want someone who walk into a room with presence. You know, it's like Jurgen Klopp, you know, at Liverpool. You know, say what you will about him, but he's got passion, and Claude didn't have that passion.
I think he did. He just didn't. He didn't show it.
He didn't show that passion. Yeah.
I think he would have benefited from. Sadly, although I disagree with what they did with Poch, I think he would have benefited from a translator rather than us listening to opportunities and possibilities all season. You know, I think that's where it kind of went wrong with the fans. The connection with the fans just wasn't there. Lost in translation, maybe. I don't know.
I think that's why the Saints have taken the time to replace him, because you've got to be able. The club have got to be seen to have made the decision themselves and not pushed into it by fan power. I mean, again, it's ironic that the one thing that a lot of people crucified Puel for, early days, he doesn't even speak English. Look at his English. Yeah. Oh, wow, that Pochettino's good. And Pochettino never even tried to speak a word of English, you know.
In interviews, I knew that he did speak English, but, you know.
Yeah, we knew he spoke English, but he showed utter contempt. I mean, I've seen people on there tonight saying, you know, the Puel showed the fans utter contempt by that, but so did Pochettino. But what it shows is that all fans care about is the
beer.
The beer, yeah. But all fans care about is winning games and winning games well. I mean, we're not silly enough to believe that the next man in a winner's the Premier League or whatever. But what we want to see is good football, and we want to have some days out. And the irony of it, under Claude Puel, we did have some days out. That's the dichotomy of the situation. You know.
What's happening, Nick? I've never heard that word.
Yeah, no, I know. I'll be getting sued on that, rightful owner of that. But
this is the ugly inside. Come on.
Yeah, the dichotomy of it is that, you know, as awful as the season was, we still had about 4 or 5 days.
Come on.
The best days out in our lives, you know. Three great trips abroad for the Europa League, Wembley, Liverpool away.
I didn't get a goal.
No, give a toss about a goal. I didn't see you worried about a goal in Tel Aviv. you know, we didn't care about it back then, but you know, we just got to go for it now. Let's get Tuchel in. Let's get everyone rocking and rolling. Koeman had personality. Koeman had style. We like that. Now we need to get someone in like that again.
Yeah, we.
Okay, then final thoughts then, Clive. Obviously, Tuchel is obviously a fan's favourite to become the next manager, and obviously will be odds on as well. Nick's put his discussion forward as well. But what do you think Tuchel can give to the Saints that Puel hasn't?
I think, like Nick says, exactly like Koeman, he's a character in the game. He commands respect. Maybe a lot of people outside of Germany wonder who, but
do you know that's again the irony of the situation that 90% of the people are going, yeah, get that Tuchel. Oh, he's Borussia Dortmund. Probably never heard of him 3 months ago.
Yeah,
you know, he wasn't a massive figure, but it's what people perceive it to be. We perceive Claude Puel to be a bumbling Frenchman. We perceive Tuchel to be another, you know.
He was manager that got into Europa and is this season in the Champions League, Nice.
Yeah.
You know, so he obviously did some good there.
Yeah, It just some managers aren't right for the club. For the club, it's horses for courses, and Puel just wasn't a manager, the right manager, and the fans took against him. Whereas with Koeman came in, and the fans immediately took to Koeman.
Yes, and the players, he had a discipline with the players that was very strong. You know, probably the best player, Mane, was reprimanded and not played in the game because he turned up late. You know, and that's what we need again. There is a discipline problem with Saints, I think, with the players, and that then feeds to the rest of the club. You know, and this guy could be fantastic for us. I really hope so. Dortmund are a big team in Europe, big team, and I mean, for a guy to come from there, that's for Southampton. That would be a massive thing. But hey, we don't know we're going to get him yet.
No. I can see the yellow wall anyway that Clive's wearing, so he obviously thinks we're going to get him.
The away kit.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Claude Puel's sacking of Southampton manager, only 1 year in charge. A lot of you already voted in our polls and our forums and our discussions, but let us know in the comments below. Is it Allo Tuchel or is it Ola Pellegrino, as Clive already has? But let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Leave us your likes and your comments and subscribe for more. Cheers for watching.